Tony Iommi, Anthony Frank Iommi, born in 1948. He's 71 now. He's an English guitarist, singer, songwriter, producer, and one of the four founders of Black Sabbath. He was the primary composer and only continuous member for 5 decades. As a factory worker, he lost the tips of his right and middle ring fingers. He left the band Earth, the early name for Black Sabbath, actually, in 1958 to join Jethro Tull. Jethro Tull, just for a little while. He fashioned some prosthetic fingers for his fretting hand. He's a lefty, and he went back to Sabbath in '69. His guitar playing was altered, but he could do it, and it was done with a heavier hand. You can't really feel the strings. He could do it. That's the main thing. He's now considered the father of heavy riffs and heavy metal and stoner rock. Iommi is from Birmingham, a city of 1.1 million people. Smack that cat. He went to the Birchfield Road School 1 year ahead of Ozzy Osbourne. And Tony learned judo, karate, and boxing to protect himself from the neighborhood gangs, the Teds. He chose to play guitar since drums were so damn noisy. After his accident at a sheet metal plant, he was told he'd never play guitar again. After hearing Django Reinhardt play, a recording of it, Tony was inspired to keep trying, as Django's fretting hand was damaged in a fire, causing him to fret with only 2 fingers. Django had to figure out a new style of playing in order to continue at all. And Tony was impressed with Django's dexterity and incredible sound. Tony built his own thimble prosthetics from metal from a bottle, and he glued leather inside to fit the thimbles over his stumps. And he never seriously considered switching to right-handed playing. He couldn't feel the strings, so certain chords were not possible, and shredding was out of the question. So did this affect the guitar sound on Black Sabbath albums? It had to. But Tony says no. He played as he could, and no one ever doubted him when they heard his work. He also tuned down, sometimes 3 half steps, to make the strings easier to bend and make the sound heavier, and a legend began. Obviously, a lot of heavy metal bands today tune their guitars down in order to get a certain sludgy, heavy, crazy sound. Well, he was the first. The Rockin' Chevrolets, the Birds and the Bees, and the rest. These are some of the bands Tony was in prior to Sabbath. Bill Ward was also in the rest. Ward and Iommi joined Mythology in 1968, and they split up not long after. Police raided their jam space in search of drugs. Ozzy and Geezer came from Rare Breed, which also broke up in '68. Ozzy placed an ad in a local music store, and it read, "Ozzy Zig requests a gig, has own PA." It's good if you're a lead singer and you're looking for work, you have your own PA. It's true. Slide guitarist Jimmy Phillips and saxophonist Alan Clark were hired to form the Polka Tulk Blues Band. Phillips and Clark were dismissed after only 2 gigs, and the name was shortened to Polka Tulk. And these became Earth. But there was another Earth besides the one we're standing on. So, Earth became Black Sabbath. Here's some of Tony's solo albums. Iommi in 2000. Yeah. The 1996 Depth Sessions in '04, and then Fused in '05. Not Sabbath. But when Sabbath kind of went on a long hiatus because of drugs, then at that point, Iommi formed Heaven and Hell. Heaven and Hell, 2 albums, The Devil You Own in '09 and Neon Nights in 2010. And that was only because, well, Ozzy had to leave Black Sabbath because of drugs. And when I say that, I don't mean that Tony and the other guys didn't also have a problem. They did. They were coke heads. Wow, that can really fuck you up. But Tony got clean and sober. And they put out some more Sabbath records not so long ago before retiring. There's 19 Sabbath LPs. I'm not going to list them all here because, everybody knows them. You don't need me to tell you about them. but all of them charted in the UK and all but 2 charted in the US. And the fact that Ozzy was able to come back is a credit to him as well. So, Bill Ward, Geezer Butler certainly added their own heaviness and lyrics to Black Sabbath, but I don't know about you, but back in the 70s when I first heard Black Sabbath, it was the guitar that grabbed me. It was the guitar, right? I mean, Ozzy's Ozzy, he's one of a kind, but something about Tony Iommi's guitar just was so new, so fresh, so different, so heavy, and so playable. A lot of us just formed bands so we could play like Black Sabbath covers because we just loved them so much and we just wanted to play them. So that's what we did. So, and Tony's retired from Black Sabbath now, and I don't know if he's going to be coming out with any new material or not. He certainly doesn't need to. Kind of if he wants to. He's probably playing with some other people. Just, you know, because he's famous. And to have a Tony Iommi appear on your album kind of helps it along, you know, even if it's just in name. Black Sabbath, an example of what drugs can do. They can provide you a wonderful palette of interesting colors, and then it'll rip you off and take it all away again. And that's the nature of the beast. Tony Iommi got clean and sober. Give him credit. He's always been a good Catholic. He's got little crosses on his guitar neck, going all the way up to the 14th fret. It's the Tony Iommi signature guitar. Black EB3. Iconic. I think I did a show where I explained how my high school band did this song and several others by Black Sabbath. We didn't know back then that we were sticking our toe in a gigantic body of water that was to become heavy metal. We didn't know because it was happening at that time. We just liked it. We knew what we liked, so we played it. People came to listen to us because they liked it too. And then look at what happened after, from then until now. This is the guy that gave it to us. This guy invented it. And he needs to get credit for it. As many, many, many heavy metal musicians are wont to give to him because they like him too. So go listen to some old Black Sabbath albums. Put your headphones on. Turn up the volume on your laptop or what have you. And just listen to Tony's guitar playing. Just listen. Take you on a trip into the recent past. Remember where you were when you first heard some of these classic songs. Anyway, there you go. That's all I have. I'll see you next time.